All right. Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order, DeKalb County Commissioners, and today's date is September 11th, 2023. Good morning, Dottie, you have the floor.
Good morning. All right. Well, let's just talk about a little bit about our health plan. Last week, we had our United Healthcare representative in for a good chunk of the day, and his appointments were full. Boom, boom, boom. I had one response so far from the meetings, and it was very positive that our rep has been able to steer this employee in the right direction, and so I'm very happy about that. We've had reports, good and bad, or I should say less and more, about the pharmacy. We've had some employees who their meds are far less than they were with Anthem, and a few that had maybe low-cost meds that are a little bit more, but not increased, not hugely. So overall, I think we're doing pretty well. We keep up to date on any of the problem situations every other week. We have a phone call, and so far those seem to be going pretty well. I mean, you can't please all the people all the time, but I think we are doing a pretty good job with that.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good news.
It is. It's very good news. Now, if we could just get our invoices for dental and vision straightened out. Poor Teresa. I think she's pulling out her hair on those. And so we've had to pull in our broker to see, can you guys help us out with this? Maybe it's a terminology, maybe it's communication. Anyway, so I talked with them on Friday, and they were going to get with Teresa about getting a phone call, conference call, so that everybody would be on the same page. So hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed on that. Let's see, other situations, the recruiting, the sheriff's office has lost 2 confinement officers, so we ramped up our recruiting for that. And I've had very good response on Indeed, and sending out the application packets. We're doing things a little differently. The application is actually online on the sheriff's website so that people can download it, or if they contact HR, we can email it out. So where it goes after that, I don't always know. So we're happy about the response. The highway department, I refreshed their posting last week, and we've had 14 inquiries on Indeed. Ben and Lindsay and I have been talking about doing a banner. We discovered that the newspaper wasn't exactly going to pull in a lot of people, and we thought, okay, maybe we could put a banner out on 6. Certainly not at their current place, but out there on the new property. A lot of people drive by there, maybe so. So Ben's checking. We want to make sure we've got the right phone number, and Ben isn't sure if the phone number is going to change once they move to Waterloo, and so anyway. But another idea that we had, we've got to think outside the box, people, and that's something else that is going to be talked about in the council meetings, are highway wages. The last time that we had a subcommittee meeting, Ben was there. He came in on his vacation and spoke to the group about the wages and what's happening within his own interviews.
Speaking of banners, I was through Butler yesterday, and out in front of Eastside High School is a school bus.
Yes, yep. They've had that out there for a while.
Big banner on it. Drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Not around here, but I've seen it in other schools in other counties.
Yeah. They're just really, grasping at the same straws that we are. Ben mentioned the other day that he had talked to DeKalb High School about their CDLs.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually do their CDL evaluations when they're up for, reevaluation through their own clinic instead of, through Occ Health, DeKalb Occ Health. And so maybe when, that whole idea comes to fruition here with us, maybe that would be another thing that we could have done, through the clinic.
I think though, Dottie, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Mike knows too, they only need a CDLB, I believe, for the school, don't they? They don't need an A,
I don't know.
which is a whole
That might be a different- yes,
license.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
we were allowed to operate on the B on our trucks that were less than so many thousand
Right,
pounds.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the
And-
old chauffeur's permit.
Yeah,
or
now they're
chauffeur's
saying
license,
since they have a
and it's
hitch
rolled
on
into the
them,
B,
Yeah.
they need to have a B, even if they don't use the hitch, they have to have the CDLA.
Yeah.
Whereas so I think the difference
Yeah.
in cost between an A and a B is 5 times as much to get the A, isn't it?
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot different.
Like
So
$11,000,
you never
I
know.
think, for the A. So
Prices on that.
it was crazy.
I think it was 11.
I think it was 11,000.
I think it was 11,000.
And then if you fail the test, I think it's another 1,000 or 1,500 to take it again, and you got to wait 30 days. So Ben could confirm that.
No.
Right, whereas the A is, like Mike said, it's almost like a chauffeur's license. It's a commercial driver's license, but you're not pulling trailer. You're not there. I don't mean to stop you.
No, but yeah.
There is a
so
difference
it's-
there.
Yep. So I've heard of some school districts where the principals and the superintendents are driving the school buses because they are just so, yeah, can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in addition to, and other duties as may be assigned, that's right there in the job description.
That's the salary.
That's it, yeah. Sunny Meadows still has a part-time housekeeper that they are looking for. But other than that, we're doing pretty darn well. Yeah, I know. It's, knock wood. So speaking of the subcommittee and council, they, in addition to the highway department talking about their wages, IT, Jack was at the subcommittee meeting and talked about his succession plan, his staffing plan, when there are retirements, and talked about a little bit about private sector wages compared to public sector wages, things like that. So that's going to be a focus of council when they're talking about wages. The council is also going to be talking about or hopefully approving the new health department RN, and because the job description came back, subcommittee approved it, and so that's good. The auditor's office had a settlement property tax administrator job description, and that was approved. The let's see, we also had the public defenders talking about the benefits request that Mark Olivero has made to all the bodies, and that will also be discussed in council meetings this week. Job descriptions have come back, reviewed by Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy for the environmentalists and the clerical staff over at the health department. And so that will be something else that will be reviewed probably during council, because I think it'll be pretty cut and dry according to the emails that the subcommittee has had. So let's see, what else? Maintenance for Sunny Meadows Community Corrections and Central Communications, that job description was approved, and hoping that council will also approve it. Something that I mentioned to the group was that Larry is now, at the beginning of the year, Larry was a one-man band. Now he will have 2 people underneath him, and so his wage probably ought to be reviewed, and we'll probably need to take a look at his job description if we need to put something in there a little different or beef up the supervisory duties. So, because he will actually be supervising the person with Sunny Meadows Central and Community Corrections, the person will be fairly, out there, probably not here too much, with the downtown or even at the highway. So it was great. We had a meeting last week with the 3 departments and myself and Larry talking about those dotted lines when it comes to supervision and what kind of a system that they're going to work out, what the needs are of every department, and are they going to use a, hey, Larry, we need this, or are they going to use a ticket system, or, how are they going to formalize the needs that each building has? And so that was, it was good beginning discussion on how they're going to do it. So once council approves that position, I will be able to, I already ran the recruiting posting by all of the parties involved, and they all liked it. And so we'll see if we can get somebody.
Larry currently hourly, or is he?
He's a salaried.
He is salaried.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
salaried.
So in that management position, he'd be fine still at salary, so that's, sorry, at salary, okay.
Yeah. Speaking of salaries, the Department of Labor have just recently published a rather long-awaited proposal raising the salary level. Back in 2016, we called it the white-collar overtime rule, and this may be it again. Currently, salaried exempt employees have to be paid a minimum of $35,568 per year. So that comes out to $684 per week. The DOL is proposing to raise it to $55,068 per year, or $1,059 per week. And I have done a review of in anticipation of, as you need to be prepared, but I'm not too worried about this proposal. And how many of our salaried exempt positions that we may need to review. And we don't have that many, thank goodness. The law enforcement will probably not be included. We elected officials are not included. The special occupation excluded first deputies will not be included. So, I was able to cut out quite a few people. I would say we have probably a handful that we would have to look at.
You said that amount was 55,000 what?
$55,068 per year. Yep. So right now it's out for public comment for the next 60 days, and we'll see what happens with that. But it's better to be prepared than panic at the end when, oh my gosh, we've got to do something. So anyway, so there's that. The separation form that I gave everybody.
I was fired, Dottie, when I saw it.
Did you? Yeah. I didn't sign it yet, Todd.
We're all fired, obviously.
We have had a separation termination form since I came on board, and it has been revised through the years. And with the most recent conversation that I had with the sheriff regarding our parking tags, asking everybody to keep them in, he's not going to ask for them back, in October after the fair. Well, we discussed how do we get them back when somebody terminates. Now, it's fairly easy to get the, your ID badges back from an employee that is terminating because they have it on them generally, but these will be in their vehicle. And so we wanted to make sure that we had that listed on the things that a department head would need to get back from an employee, and between security of the department head and HR, if it is a separation that is voluntary. the employee will more than likely, hey, here's on my last day, here's my parking tag, been great working here, bye. If it's an involuntary separation, a little more contentious, security may be called in, HR, it's just a good idea to have another party involved in these meetings, and then either security or HR will walk the employee out and ask for the parking tag back. The sheriff said, well, they do cost money, and it would be nice not to have to replace them. And we don't have a lot of those happening, but we wanted to be prepared. So we thought, ooh, if we're going to add that, let's go ahead and change the layout of it. So now we have a little bit more of a check, and making sure that we do actually get back all of the county-owned property. So anyway, there's that. Just did that last week. The other thing, we have a safety committee meeting coming up this Friday at 8:30 in the basement of the 9th Street Annex, and we're going to be talking about training topics. Last week with the department heads meeting, we had a representative from IPEP via Zoom talk about the importance of training, keeping our employees safe and healthy. And one of the things we need to do is ramp up our IOSHA trainings. And so we talked about that last week in the department heads meeting. We're going to talk about that as I get more of the forms back from department heads. Talk about that. We're going to talk about emergency evacuations in each building, mainly because the evacuation plans that we have in our safety handbook aren't exactly up to date. And who better than the people who are in the actual buildings to weigh in on how to do that. And then we'll also talk about the individuals who are going to be going to the OSHA 10 training at the end of October. So anyway, that's kind of the topics that we have coming up for Friday morning with the safety committee meeting. And I think that is all that I have right now. What do you guys have for me?
Anything for Dottie?
Was Tyler from, not Surest,
Trey from Surest.
Was he able
UHC.
to then help these folks that were having problems with their prescriptions? Was that what the meeting was about?
Oh, he had individual meetings.
Individual
They were
meetings.
individual
Okay.
meetings, and HIPAA, I do not know what those meetings were about.
But,
And as I said, I had one employee who had a meeting with me afterwards. I just said, so I don't need to know why, but
Right.
was Trey able to help you out? Oh, yeah, we've got a plan now, and I think it's going to work out just great. So, and I haven't heard from anybody else.
Good.
So, like I said, Trey does what he can to help as much as we can within the plan. And sometimes it's just nice to have a hand holder. There are some things that he can do. He has talked with facilities. He has talked with providers. He has what he's discovered that a provider and a pharmacy where they were running the prescription through Anthem. That's why the employee was being socked with $1,000 instead of like 10.
Wrong company.
Yeah, totally wrong company, but they kept saying, no, it's not going through, not going through, not going through. And the employee had given them his card.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating. And, if you don't know the right questions to ask,
Right.
which we're not asking our employees to do that. They're just concerned about getting their prescription. Whereas Trey's looking at it, from a third-party business standpoint, and he knows what questions and what problems have come up, in the past with other things. That was a good one. It's like, really? And we had been with UHC for then, a month.
It happened with us too, just so you know. They denied our claim It's like, why'd you deny it? And I looked and it says denied by Anthem. I said, well, here's your problem. I gave you the UHC card 30 days ago. Yeah. They didn't update it in their system and they ran it
Right,
through
yeah,
that way.
exactly. Yeah,
Makes
Do
sense.
it every time.
Do it every time, yeah.
yeah, I know, yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah.
What was the situation with the confinement officers? Did they quit or were they left
They
go?
did. They both live up in Steuben County, and they were able to get positions up with Steuben County.
Really?
So, hey, they automatically, got a raise because they don't have to drive down here. So, yeah,
Oh, they lived up there.
yeah, they live up there. So it wasn't us. It was, their own personal situation. So, yeah, which is really good to hear. As an employer, you don't want people leaving because they're crabby about things going on. So, and I will say I've had good comments and about our new sheriff and how things are being run over there.
Good.
It's the retention. You take a look at our retention, far better than it was.
Good.
Okay, anything else? Anyone? All right, Dottie, I guess that's it.
Thanks so much. See you guys.
Appreciate- Have a good
My
day.
wife thing too, I gave it to, Lindsay, and so, appreciate it.
Okay, real quick, let's jump over and take care of claims.
I'll move to approve the claims.
And I will second.
Motion and a second to approve claims. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Claims are approved. Minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve minutes. Any additional comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Minutes are approved. Okay, we're getting close to that 9 o'clock hour. Michelle, you want to come on up? What you got today for us?
I need 2 signatures. I actually brought the papers with me because one of them has signatures of other individuals on it already. And this one, I just wasn't sure if I had emailed it in. So the first one is the addendum for our alcohol monitoring, where they were going to move us from the percentage-based overage to actual number of units, which I think is going to keep us from getting charged for any overages. So far, we've been able to get back with them and have them reverse anything that we were charged. It just kind of happens that when things are in transit, that they still consider that as being on our shelf. So we think this is going to be a better way to go. So I need a signature on this page for that.
That's what was in our email, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Graham thing.
Yes.
And you're wanting them to sign something you have?
Oh, like, yeah. Just,
The form
Okay.
that was in the email there.
Well, I thought you
Yeah.
had
Okay with you?
signatures or something. Okay. That's
Okay
fine.
with our attorney, I'd make a motion to sign the new agreement for Scram.
I'll certainly second that.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any other comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries, and I will sign.
okay, second thing I have is an agreement for Hamilton School Districts to join the Change Academy. They had indicated that they wanted to join in the spring and then had, I don't know if it's just school calendars or what happened there, but kind of had stopped responding. And then contacted us again in August and wanted to have a meeting for more details and things like that, which we accomplished, and took it to their school board, and that was approved. And so now we're just working on collecting all signatures needed at the county so that we can have them join the Change Academy.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Hamilton, they straddle the school district straddle
You did. That's
They don't have one.
on my,
And they don't have one. And when we spoke with the superintendent, he had said the school buildings are actually in DeKalb, and if they have an issue, it would be Hamilton PD that would file, and they would file it here in DeKalb. And that was also a question that I believe Judge Grimm had, and that the prosecutor's office went through.
Send it down
They
this
believe
way.
that they can make it
Probably goes
work
back to
the way
Michelle.
that they will be filed, that they would be under our jurisdiction. Correct. Yeah.
Todd?
Get it back? Okay.
Maybe it's, I guess, it looks like that summer school is not included unless.
Correct. Okay, I'll write it down and fix it for next time.
Statues are good too.
Yeah.
You say page 6? Okay. Correct.
Sheriff's office,
Not the sheriff's office, correct, the prosecutor's office. It'll be Hamilton PD that would be sending in the reports.
yeah, well, those are the questions that. There you go. Those were the questions I had. So I'm fine with it, with
you
the
repeat all
explanations
that?
that you had there, so.
Good deal.
Okay. Motion?
Motion to sign the agreement.
I'll second.
Hamilton School, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Hamilton School.
Yeah. Glad to see them come on board.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Okay, can I keep that one for tomorrow for Rick to sign? And then,
Yes, ma'am.
do you need the original or,
I will need the original.
okay,
yes.
so I'll keep it for tomorrow and then let you know when I have that done. Then do you want to scan that one to me, please? Okay. And Michael had contacted me this morning. He needs to talk to you guys about a grant that he just found out about, so
Okay. Come on up, Michael. Time like the present.
Not one that we just, not to correct her, not one we just found out about, but one that we found out is going to be reissued. I actually asked for
Oh,
permission for this a couple years ago, got permission, filed it, got it. But we did not use the money. We didn't use the funds because the intended portion was to create a probation officer assistant position to help with the drug court and testing, as well as complete their requirements. I notified Susan today that what the grant is, it's a SIM JPAR, I think is the initials they use, but SIM is a sequential intercept model requirements. Mr. Watson and myself being part of the local JRAC as well as some of the opioid funding, it's a extensive movement, not just throughout the state, but throughout the country to create extensive mapping for everyone involved in the criminal justice system. That's referral sources, law enforcement, probation, the courts. That just creates a map of how somebody becomes involved with the system and how they move all the way through it. And so it's very extensive. Having all those people come together, take a look at how people become involved, how we can help them, what are referral sources at each step, and how we can make sure that we get them into the right places. When I filed for this grant originally and got your permission, the only reason I did not actually use those funds to create the position was because when we got the approval from the council to create it, I was concerned that that would be a large undertaking for a brand new POA to get all those people at the table And then ultimately that would fall back on a lot of us, which we didn't have the time. We had just created ATC. We had a lot of other expectations. Right now, though, we have some leadership through Parkview, which has created a group that's working on what's called CIT, which is crisis intervention. They already are ready to go with a SIM mapping program. They have an external referral that's going to come in and basically do 90% of that work for us. We spoke at a meeting last week. They've sent out the request to get that set for our county. So this position and the grant would ultimately just, it would help us fulfill that requirement because it's already going to be done. So this position would be able to support that, help them. Maybe the grant portion can help pay for some of the food, the meeting spaces, support that, get some of the paperwork done, send out the emails, take care and make sure that everybody that's needed shows up and just does some of the running around. But DeKalb County would also be able to support a POA for 1 year. The intention of that is, I needed this position anyway, but this year could not afford to pay for it out of my own funding. Probation has their own grant where we gain funds through probation user fees. But because of a raise in drug testing costs, because of our inclusion of some of the things that we had to do with ATC, because that program continues to grow, I couldn't dedicate those funds this year. I know that as soon as I build a drug testing account, I will have that amount of money that I would need for that salary a year from now. So I knew it was something I wanted, but I just wasn't going to do it this year. I was going to wait, either attempt to get that position through the opioid funding or this grant, and then just wait till next year. But with this grant, it's a federal, so it would be going from October to October. They want it like right now for me to apply for it. So I would like your permission to apply through that grant. It's federal funding, but it's actually run through the Indiana Office of Court Services, the people who give us our grant for both our Veterans Treatment Court, our Family Recovery Court. They are the people we go through. So though they're federal funds, the Indiana Office of Court Services will be the ones that oversee it. Very short grant process for me to get involved in. So it's not going to take me a ton to get done. But the reporting, I think, will be truly focused on whether we make strides towards creating that sequential intercept mapping. And right now we have, through that CIT, we got everybody at the table. We have a meeting scheduled. We got some outside referral sources going to come in and do a huge portion of the work. So I think it's perfect timing for us to go use that money. And if it's only there for 1 year, I'll be able to sustain that position going forward through probation user fee funds.
I think you won't need the opioid money after that, you don't think, as for the position anyway?
To my knowledge, no. I mean, that was the intention of asking for that now. It was a position that I knew I wanted, that I feel, if you guys give me just a second, I have a male POA, a probation officer assistant. So when people come in, and many of our treatment court participants are tested 2 to 3 times a week, having that position saves all of my officers from stopping everything they're doing about 15 to 20 times a day to get up and stop and get involved in that testing. The POA also helps with support. None of these grants ever give us money for support personnel. So obviously you understand that my support staff looks at me every time we add positions, add requirements, and go, hey, I'm still the same person doing all that work. You just keep adding more on. Well, these POA positions are used through Assistant Chief Ryan Hall, and he has them help with our A&D program. He has them check people in. He has them help with all the paperwork that we need done so that the officers can focus specifically on case management and therapeutic intervention. Right now, only having one male, it means that every female in my office is doing the other portion. They're getting up 15 times a day and trying to figure out how that testing is going to be done. And when you lose them to court coverage, when you lose them to home visits, it's hard to get done. That also costs us money. We have to move if we don't have the same gender orientation to do the testing, we're going to mouth swabs. Those mouth swabs cost us money straight in front, and are more expensive. And as I said, drug testing is one of those things that just they keep raising the price of. So I would like to reduce that as much as I can. And using the grants, you guys have known since I've come in here 5 years, I try to use them as much as I can to try and support what we need to get done in the county. Because it's out there, you just got to go get it.
So the application process is all web-based online for Michael, so he just needs you don't have to sign anything. He just needs you guys to approve or not approve him to move forward.
If you're officially asked, Bill, if you want a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize Michael to apply for the grant.
A motion and a second. Any additional comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you for taking me emergency.
Be sure that I get all of the information because I will have to report all this on my annual financial report.
Absolutely.
I'll need everything.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot to it last year, more than that. I was granted it, but because of the timing, I didn't take it. And then a year later, they called me back and said, hey, we need to know what you did with all that money. And I said, I didn't take it.
Right.
So I'm sure it's still sitting in your
still
bank
there
account somewhere. I didn't take it, didn't use it.
Bora Bora.
Yeah, so good luck with that. So hopefully they will give me the same leeway they did this time. But yeah, it's run through the same people we have granting to for the other two. So I'm hopeful that the process will be pretty seamless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Michael. Okay. Got a little time now. The 2023 Annual Jail Report Acknowledgement. I wasn't able to even download that. I don't know why.
Oh, you weren't? Sorry about that.
I was able to get it. There was one other I wasn't able to get, though. Sometimes I can't get them on my phone for some reason, but I get
Yeah.
them on my computer. It's odd.
It is very odd.
Must be something in the operating system. But I read it. It's same as last year. I'd make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the sheriff's report.
Second that.
A motion and a second to acknowledge the DeKalb County Jail Inspection 2023. Additional comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. And there again, we're not approving the report. We're just acknowledging receipt of it.
Right.
Sign on that?
Yeah.
Think so. Okay. Amendment to the DCCC SCRAM Monitor Agreement.
She did that.
We just
She
did
added that in. We just did
That
that.
was in?
Yeah.
Miscellaneous topics.
I don't really have much. I have two things. One, I just want to make sure you guys all saw Russ Couchman's email airport. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll comment on that a minute. He made some statements in there that some of it's in good insight on his part. We don't want to lose any possibility of federal funding, of course. However, he keeps talking about through-the-gate operations. I'm not talking about through the gate. I currently have through-the-gate operations. I can take my card, tap the thing, drive my truck right anywhere I want to go in that airport. I'm talking about is putting hangars right, fence, then hangars, and you got to have your card to get through the fence just like before. You can't drive from the housing addition. People won't be able to go through the fence. It would be just as secure. It would have the same cameras, there's nothing different. Now, he did make a point also that he had that property slated maybe for future business development that would go hand in hand with the airport. Wonderful. When? 10 years from now? 20 years from now? What kind of industry are we looking at? Currently, we got a bunch of houses around there and no industry. Makes sense to me, and again, he's also talking about instead of just a one-shot revenue, in his letter, he says, well, if you sell the property, we just get money once. Well, I was thinking maybe we could take a TIF district, make that property a TIF district, and all property tax go towards improvement to that area. So I understand where he's coming from, but I don't agree with him, because if we could sell a minimum of 50 lots and maybe up to 100 out there, a lot of money, and then take that property tax of 500,000 to $1 million a year and TIF it.
Can we do a TIF on?
I don't know.
residential?
That's a question.
Well,
I don't
no.
know.
Yes, you can. You can do a residential TIF.
Right.
And capture that funding to pay for the infrastructure,
Okay.
which is the huge expense
Yeah.
anyway on developing lots. So what that gives you is a big edge on attracting a developer to do it. That's the only way, that's the only TIF that you can do right now in terms of residential.
Okay.
You can TIF factory or commercial development as a regular TIF district. But residential TIF makes a lot of sense from that standpoint if they can get that, street,
Right.
sewer, light,
Yes.
all of that stuff.
The sewer
Pay for
already
it.
runs out front there. That's the good thing.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that, but like you said, you'd have
Yeah,
to
you've
do
got to get
streets
it, you've
and,
got to get it to all the lots and so
Yeah.
forth. So.
Yeah,
and the thing I would like to point out too, all of County Road 60 is residential on the other side. All of 427 is residential and farms. And as a matter of fact, Leslie's have a beautiful house right next to that parcel I'm talking about, and so does the house I used to live in. It's that modern-looking California-style house. One of the guys that's an airport operator owns that house.
Okay.
The Pratt Air, who bought
Yeah.
the Meteor and
Right,
everything.
yeah.
And it would just be a continuation of that beautification. You would have a beautiful commercial adaptable airport along with a beautiful residential area that the people don't care about the noise. They want to live there.
Sure.
And I understand Russ's point. He's thinking maybe warehousing would maybe come out there possibly, but I think we're all in agreement from a county standpoint. We have Fort Wayne International Airport for airline service. We're not going to compete with that, nor do we want an Allegiant Airlines in Auburn. We do not want that noise. We do not want 737s going out on scheduled air traffic.
all hours of the day and night.
Oh, well, and I just think, he said we're short-sighted. I think he's being short-sighted by not at least hearing us out and saying, here's what we envision. But I don't want to second guess him. I think he's done a great job, but
Well, yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think it's good to have
we need to have a
sit down
talk.
at the table and
Yeah.
have a conversation
So-
back and forth and find some common ground and work out the differences.
Yeah.
If we want to see this move forward, I think there's some potential there.
Yeah, and maybe it won't work. And I said earlier, maybe it's pie in the sky, but
Well, you don't know if you don't sit down and talk about it.
yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's say it generate 5 million on an upright sale. And then if we could get the infrastructure done in through TIF, maybe even more. You could get a lot more for the lots that are already improved if we threw some TIF money at a developer, said, hey, we'll pay for the streets and sewer if you put these in. There's a good chance this could bring big money.
And that front's on County Road 64 on the backside.
Backside, it goes all the way to 64, except for the Wallace Farm that's on the corner. Okay, so you have Joan and Orville Wallace on the corner of 64 and 427. And then
There's acreage that goes, I was back there, by the way,
Yeah.
the other day, and there is water and sewer on that back.
water and
on
sewer
that
already out
backside.
there.
Already out there on that backside to Diamond Lake, I think.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It'd just be a continuation of that residential footprint that is already established there. It fills the gap, and it fills it with people that want to be there. They're not going to be griping. So
think it's
I
an
just think he should
opportunity.
hear us out.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity to maybe get that airport some more funding and get them off the tax roll.
Well, and he talked about that in his email. He says, hey, my long-term goal is, or my goal is to
Yeah.
get this off the tax roll. Great.
Yeah,
Here's an idea. Can we talk about it is all I'm asking instead of this short-sightedness,
Yeah.
speak. We need to not address each other that way. We're not being short-sighted, we're just throwing some
Yeah.
things out there.
And
you
I
know?
might add, it's been at least 10 years ago, there was a board member of that organization that his goal was to get it off the tax roll.
That's right.
And we're 10 years, at least 10 years later, and it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So,
Well, and at the current rate, Bill, there's no way they'll get it off the tax roll. I'll tell you why. You know, they rent out that whole complex. When I say the whole complex, the main hangar, the maintenance hangar, we're talking tens of thousands of square feet of prime commercial space, offices, everything. I think it was less than $7,000 a month, and that includes utilities. Well, the hangar alone is probably $1,500 to $2,000 a month in utilities, you know, on and on and on. So, and then they get hangar rent off the T hangars, but when you add it all up, it's not even close.
Or it should be.
Yeah, they get some fuel flowage fees. In other words, they get a few pennies per gallon that's pumped, all that. The only way that you're gonna really get over the hump is to develop that property extensively, in my opinion. And utilize it for what it should be, because again, we're never going with intersecting runways and we're never gonna have an airline. So to me, it's worth a talk.
Yeah, it sure is. I agree. Anything else?
Didn't mean to go that long, I just had a.
That's okay. What you got, Susan?
I'm trying to think. Probably a week or so ago, Andrew had emailed the no trespass ordinance
Yeah.
for your review. You guys just need to let me know when you're ready to actually do something with it so that I can advertise it when we do our meetings. So otherwise we read the whole thing. But I just wanted to make sure that you had time to give Andrew back your feedback.
We don't want to read the whole thing.
Not if I don't have to.
Gotta learn to read first, I don't wanna do that.
It first came up when, I think when Sheriff Brady Thomas talked to me about a
Right.
situation that had come up. So it's entirely up to you as commissioners what you want to do and on it.
I have no problem
Doesn't
with
offend
it.
me one way or the other, but this is a proposed ordinance that makes Brady, satisfied him, I think, with the language.
I think we should move forward with it. Brady wouldn't ask for it unless he thought it was good, and, you know, I think he's done a great job in leadership, so I have at first I wasn't sure about it, you know, but
Yeah, same with me.
you get a unruly person that you can't deal with, you need to have a policy in place that can remove them.
Yeah, sure. And if you never
I'll get
need
it
so much
prepared
better.
and
Yeah.
for next
Okay.
week.
It's like with our business, we're a private entity, we can just tell people, hey, you need to get out. But as a
But it's not
public,
that simple.
yeah, as
for
a public entity, we have to have a policy that says, hey, okay, it's public until you prove you can't get
Right.
along with people, and then we're gonna tell you to leave. So,
And a way to do your public business.
Exactly.
After you've been told to exit from one place. And you
Right.
still come in with an escort with
Yeah, with
another
yes,
place.
yeah. I was going to mention that. It's not
Yeah.
like they can't come in.
That's
to
right.
do their business. They can, but
Right.
That's right.
But just to do business and.
Just to do business,
Yeah.
not to do harassment. Yep.
And the last thing that I had is I emailed you guys last night about the 3 things we need to do with DART before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Mike's gonna be
Mike
out there,
responded.
so he's gonna do 2 of them. Does,
I'll do a ride-along if they want, or if Mike, you said that
Okay.
Yeah,
you wouldn't mind.
I'm fine, either way.
Either way, if Mike wants to do it or I'll do it, either way, just, when you talk to him next,
Okay.
we just ask him, since you're gonna have that
Yeah,
meeting, we
sure.
just say, hey, mark a date, Todd will make it.
Okay,
So,
got it.
okay,
perfect.
good.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
We'll pick out the best driver for you.
All right, yeah, pick one that won't kill me, that'd be fine. let me
Anything
drive.
else?
That's all I had.
Andrew, anything?
We'll do some.
No, I don't think I have anything today.
Mike, Todd, anything else?
No, I didn't really have anything.
No.
Real quick, I'd like to bring up the subject of live streaming all meetings that's held in the Commissioner Court. I know the law doesn't go in effect that we have to do that for a while, some time,
Yeah, 25.
but I'm thinking maybe we should do an ordinance, pass an ordinance that would require that all meetings in this room are live streamed. It's all set up to do it. Why don't we get ahead of the game and do that?
I don't have a problem with that, because I think It just gives people more access to,
I think it's good government. I don't have a problem with it
yeah,
at
very
all.
transparent and
We're talking the Drainage Board, Plan Commission, whatever else might take place, BZA.
Does it affect the, like the alcohol commission?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone that would use this
Anybody
room.
that meets here in this
Okay.
room.
Yeah.
Because the alcohol commission, that's a local commission, not a state body. That, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
Okay, wouldn't
Yeah,
make
it
any
would
difference,
matter.
state or local, okay.
Okay,
So would you like me to draft an ordinance on that and get that back to you guys?
yes, please, if you would.
Okay, we'll do it.
Okay, we need a motion for him to do that.
make a motion that we have the county attorney prepare an ordinance to record all meetings in this room.
Live stream
Live stream, yeah.
and record.
And record, yeah. Live stream and record in Commissioner's Court.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye?
Aye, opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay.
And that would be everything, not just things that involve you or council,
Right,
right? Okay.
yeah.
So like
Government boards or entities.
election board,
Basically, anything that would be required under the statute would need to live stream.
but not if, like, say, Jeff Dossett and the state board or child support, they came in to have a meeting with, like, Holly and I,
No, 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 no. It would only be
like a
it's not an
posted
informal-
meeting.
Informal
Right,
meetings
right.
aren't required to do that.
And it would be in the statute, like Mike said,
Okay.
the statute that the state has passed that's
So I'll
forthcoming.
reference the exact
Yes.
statute too to help perhaps.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that was, 1165.
We don't want to overstep
We'll get
that
it in there, we'll get it
statute,
in
but
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
there would be some exceptions, obviously. Okay. Thank you all. All right, we are getting close to the 9:30 hour. Mark Byler, you want to step up and what you got for us today?
Good morning.
Yep.
You'd make sure that mic's on too, Mark, when you get back up there, when you speak, please. It'll be a little
We
blue
just need
light.
one. Yeah.
I'm here with Lakeland Internet today.
Thank you.
You guys can kind of do some education, questions and answers. Blue light's on. I think it's on.
There you are.
I've got some equipment as well. I'll put on display if that's okay with you guys. Here we can place a buffer. It's capable of here. Kind of my discussion point is we've been doing internet for years. This is the unit we want a home if we were in a widespread situation. One of the units that we go on the tower. Here is funding and opportunities. What work with any money that was right for the community. Fiber build at something like DeKalb County, it's a $30-40 million project that can be drawn out with construction and zoning and approvals. This technology throughout our network, and we're looking to see what grow into it.
Please don't put it in front of that camera there, though. That camera's,
It's
yeah, that should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, yep.
This unit's about 40 pounds. We put 4 of those on a tower.
How much does it weigh, Mark?
40 to 45 pounds.
Would you grab that mic, please, so we make sure we get it recorded? Yeah, it won't pick you up.
Yeah.
With this and a 4 sector deployment, we can cover about 1,000 people. It will also provide 600 to 800 meg over the air in good line of sight situations. I can do DeKalb County for about $2 million. And that's with significant investment from Lakeland Internet, about $6.5 million for all the home units. The smaller one is your home units, about $800. And then the one sector is about $15,000. So we need 7 of those on a tower plus some supporting electronics. I'm a little nervous, forgive me.
Hey, you're all right, Mike.
And I do appreciate the opportunity to be here. Beautiful, beautiful. So I'm really here kind of to educate, I guess. I don't think everyone needs fiber. I do believe that in communities like Auburn, Waterloo, Garrett, where there's a cluster of people, it becomes more financially viable. I think with what Toronto does and their future roadmap, it's the solution for most of rural America. And I'm doing my best to get my word out there. I've had the state broadband coordinator come up. Toronto will be in town again Wednesday. If you guys want to see it in action, I'll invite you to come out and check it out. So what this can do is we've got customers, we just put it on our Butler Tower. We've got customers 9 miles away in St. Joe, Indiana, getting 125 meg down and 40 meg up.
9 miles away,
9 miles away.
120 meg down.
120 meg down, 40 up.
Okay.
With upcoming funding, that's the benchmark. 100 down, 25 up. We can do it with Toronto now, as it is. They have software upgrades coming in 2024 that will double the possible capacity of that unit. So it's going to go from an 800 meg capacity per customer to like 1.6 gigabit. That's over the air. That's not taking a fiber cable to a home. It's extremely affordable compared to fiber. I can hit most homes for about $1,000 to $1,100 per home, whereas fiber is anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000 depending on where they are rurally. To construct fiber direct burial, it's about $60,000 a mile. To use the poles, it's $28,000 to $36,000 a mile. I would say there's lengthy deployment schedules when that happens. There's a lot of zoning required. You got to stay in your right of way. There's easements. We're currently doing it at Hamilton, Crooked Lake, Lake James. I'm keenly aware how hard it is to deploy fiber. I love the simplicity of a fixed wireless network like this. We take fiber to a tower and then we broadcast it out from there. This is a product that's been developed since I think 2009. AT&T had a part in developing it. Now it's kind of hitting big, and a lot of carriers are deploying it across the country because it can do some amazing things and really get people the broadband connection they need. So, again, I'm not going to walk through my presentation. There's some good data in there. If you guys have any questions or concerns, I don't have any sort of formal proposal. I know it's something that I would like to do to get into DeKalb County. I love the county. It's beautiful down here. I was here for Saturday night. Lakeland's owned by Chuck Sirac, so we brought a couple cars up from Sweet Cars and got involved in the community. I love doing this stuff. I love the opportunity to be here in front of you guys. I feel it's a good use of doing a hybrid network like this. If there's any tax money available, rather than spending $40 million to do a county, we can do it for $2 million. So no formal proposal or ask. I'm honestly here because I want you guys to know that there are other options out there than a big spend like fiber. I do absolutely believe that fiber is key in communities like Auburn, Garrett, Waterloo, Butler, areas that matters. I'm planning on doing some stuff there too. But to get service out to the farmers, the people that are more remote, the people that appreciate their space, getting connected like with something like this is the solution to really help out. Now, if Lakeland does come into further into DeKalb County, obviously, as we grow more customers, I want to put an office down here. I'm going to hire people. I am very, very big on the local people that know their market, that are customers. I look for skill inside the county, towns, and areas. because it makes a difference when you have a local person to call that can be there the same day or next day if they have any problems. I teach my team that we are here to educate. We go above and beyond. We'll go into senior citizen homes. We'll spend time telling them and teaching them how to connect their devices. That relationship is so important to me. You don't find that in most ISPs nowadays. I worked for AT&T for 22 years. You're a number. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I want customers and good relationships. It's a big thing I'm on. I know that's kind of bouncing around a little bit. I probably should have followed my presentation so I sounded better. But I'm really here to start a conversation because I'd like to come into DeKalb County and really help you guys out with the problem you've got. I've got slides in here that was recently sent down to us from the FCC about underserved, unserved. My plan will cover so much of that. Don't believe the FCC database is accurate. Indiana Broadband Office has set up the Connecting Indiana webpage, so there's another slide in there where they've done true speed tests to identify where some of the real problems are. I want to go after those and get them. I hate that people are sitting out in the country and have no idea what's going on. I'd really love for them to be able to watch your streaming meetings coming up soon. If they don't have a connection, they can't do that. So I really just want to start a conversation. I want to work with the county, and I want to deploy a great network that's reliable. It's going to get them speeds that are unheard of. You have several customers on our network that you guys know, and Andrew's one of them. Kind of chuckled because he went out and bought Starlink, and then he calls me up and yells at me and says, "Why didn't you do this a month ago?" And he got rid of his Starlink. I do believe that things like Starlink make a lot of sense when you're talking Africa, maybe rural parts, but it doesn't make sense when there's facilities here in the county that can, with a little bit of investment, fit the need of the residents. And I hate to call it cost effective because we've worked hard to be able to get into Toronto, and it's not a cheap technology, but compared to fiber, it's amazingly cheap technology.
So, just to speak just a moment, Mark and I had lunch, talked about how he envisioned making this all work, and he basically said, hey, 9 or 10 towers strategically placed in this county would cover the whole county. He's already taken really about a sixth of the county just off the Butler Tower.
Yes.
But that's a
270 foot.
Yeah, it's a big tower. But to get megabit speeds, 100 megabit and up speeds at 9 miles away with wireless is unheard of.
Yeah.
It is.
And to be able, and like he said, they're doing a software upgrade on this where it's going to double the speed just with the software upgrade, which I don't understand why they do that later. Do it right up front. But here nor there, his idea too, and he was very upfront. He said, listen, I don't want to be the only player. Build these towers and let us compete with others that want to be on the tower. And the idea too is, as you build these towers and you do a fiber backdrop or backhaul, then if that community around that tower grows, you bring the hard fiber to those areas and you organically grow it that way. So this is like I don't want to call it a Band-Aid because this is a wonderful solution. It's more than a Band-Aid. It's a way to get true broadband to people. And if you look at the underserved, unserved data, especially I think the Farm Bureau's is more accurate.
Yeah, well, and we've got the latest ICP data too
Yeah.
that shows specific addresses. So,
Sure, yeah. But to give you an idea, one good place for a tower, in my opinion, especially looking at the unserved, underserved, is around the Spencerville Bridge area. We own that property. I'm not saying put it right in the middle of the beauty, but off to the side there
Metalink's putting one up in Reinhardt's.
is Brett Melling putting one up and right. So
Yeah, they're using Toronto as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Toronto's a good technology.
It is,
It's interesting.
But I'm just wondering,
For sure, and,
if we could put up, let's say, 8 to 11 towers, I'm just throwing a number there, at a couple $100,000 each, we could also possibly, maybe some cell phone companies would want spots on our towers in areas. You never know, or maybe corporations that want to do direct data link from, you never know what you're going to find on tower rent. not that I want to be into the tower rental business, but there is a shortage of good towers around here. And if we, serious, I mean, if we
Cell
could,
phone.
if we could fill this gap, I'm seeing us having fiber to the premise in a lot of areas within 10, 15, 20 years, but during that time,
Oh, it's gonna happen a lot sooner now.
well, I'm talking to everyone.
Yeah,
But I'm saying you can have great high-speed internet in 6 months to a year with this program. And we can have Metalink in on it. We can have, we can have Lakeland, whoever might want to play on our towers, it'd be an open playing field. He's not asking to be the sole player, and he's not asking for the money. He's saying, hey, if you want to put in some infrastructure, we'll rent from you, right? Basically is what you're saying, right? Okay.
So the cell phone towers that we have, are they at full capacity and you can't just stick these on the current cell phone tower?
I spent the last 2 weeks driving everything that's in this county.
Okay. And you need the extra
Some of them,
towers?
yeah. Some of them I cannot use, some of them I can use. So I've kind of got a slide in there where it breaks down a little bit of budget.
Okay.
If you guys were to build 10 towers, that's probably 1.2 million, somewhere around in there. A tower of 200 to 240 feet is about $70,000 for the steel itself. And then it's about another 70 or so, depending on what the substrate is to build the tower. So you're anywhere from $120,000 to $140,000 to build a tower. I would caution you not to just go in deep, because that comes along with FAA regulations, that comes along with tower, that comes along with insurance and securing the tower. My point in being here today is that if I use some of these existing with another tower or two that we talk about, we can have the county can be covered. All I want to do is educate, make sure that the decisions made being fiscally responsible of what's there. And sure, I want some more business in this county. I really do. But I want what's right for the residents in the county above all.
you said you're working with Hamilton
Yes.
now with Brent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brent has been amazing to deal with. Like I enjoy that relationship. I really do.
And Brent and I had good discussions in the economic development meetings about this. He said that it is unbelievable what they've done up there around the lake area.
This technology is really interesting, instead of going through it.
Yeah, it can
Does all
like
that cool
beam
stuff.
forming and all that.
Yeah, it's like weird.
And typically what Lakeland does is we'll come in, we'll put in a cheaper wireless solution as the customers join, we'll upgrade to Toronto. And in a case like Hamilton, we went from Toronto right into fiber because there was enough demand there.
Right.
Brent found some ARPA funds to put towards our project, and we're knocking it out of the park. We'll be lighting up customers probably early October down there.
Yeah.
And I've been down there with HOAs. Sometimes I think I like the punishment because I'll walk into these meetings and just say, hey, I'm here to solve your concerns. And the sentiment from residents is amazing. Like, you're here. That is better than anyone else. You're here to help. You're here, we hit a water main. It was a private water main. We got it fixed. That's the right thing to do. We're huge Chuck. It's like a Boy Scout, right, man? I mean, like, just do the right thing, treat people the way you want to be treated, and do good. And I love that I'm enabled to run a company in that way. I just want to spread the goodness. This is what I like to do.
Didn't you say one of your problems too is there's a company that owns quite a few towers here, but they're hard to work with as far as not only the amount of rent, but the timing, like if you need to work on the tower, it takes 30 days to even get approval. And
So that was what some of my driving was done. There were a couple there's a tower in Helmer that I really wanted to go on, but it's an Osprey tower. As soon as the Ospreys are on there, if there's a nest, I cannot touch that tower until they leave at the end of the season.
Really?
And I respect that. I'm a
What
little bit of a
happens if
nature boy.
you're-
I'm a little bit of a Boy Scout too. I respect that, but man, it struggles. We had to completely change a plan in Steuben County because of a bird. We were literally climbing the tower, and the crew was like, there's a bird up there. Can't climb it. I had to completely replan a whole new tower to get service into an area because of that. Because if something goes down, I don't want to have to wait to fix it.
What happens if your equipment does go down and there's a bird nesting on the tower? You can't go up there and fix your equipment?
I don't like doing cowboy stuff. If it's really bad, I'll say, hey, I'm going to have to ask for forgiveness, but I typically try to find towers that are not osprey nests because I don't want to invite exceptions into my network.
How do you eliminate that? Is it tower location? Does that help, or can you do nesting towers for these birds?
They do make stuff on the tower. If I own a tower, I can put spikes up there. I hate to call them spikes, but it keeps,
With a hammer?
yeah, it keeps the birds from nesting. As soon as it's a nest, then it's an off limits.
There are ways to,
Yes, yes,
Stop.
yeah. And they're mean birds.
Oh, yeah, big birds.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. These towers, they freestanding or be guy wire?
They can be a mixture. Obviously, if you go with a freestanding tower, there's more concrete, more cost involved. I don't care if it's a guy or a freestanding tower. Just don't do monopoles because those are tough to climb and tough to rig up for equipment.
Are those the same
Those are just
steel
this,
pole?
yeah,
Like a
correct.
flagpole.
Yeah, correct.
I've
correct.
seen that.
Yeah. And really, I just want to help the county. Like, even if I'm a sounding board for somebody else coming in, I just want to help wherever I can.
I see there's a map here with the tower locations that you're proposing. Say you can't get that location. How far off of that location can you put a tower and still service that area
We would try to keep it within a mile or two.
within a mile or two?
Two is probably a stretch because we do the engineering studies to make sure we can cover what we need to cover. In my plan, there are definitely a few holes. And I do believe the software we use, even Toronto has done the studies for me to verify what my idea was. They say it's covered. I think down in that Spencerville area, that's tough. I looked at a tower down there and it was a little scary to even think about putting equipment on there. But there's definitely a hole down in the Spencerville area. I know that I don't have anything in Auburn proper, but I guarantee with Toronto, there's buildings and people in this town that could get service off probably Butler, if I'm being honest. So
If a tower was to go in close to the Spencerville Bridge area, where would the backhaul go? Where would that hook in your opinion? Would that go into Allen County somewhere and hook into the network there?
absolutely, absolutely. So we're looking at bringing in fiber to the Butler Tower, and then that's going to be a 10 gig connection out to the world. We do that for a couple of reasons. We've already got 3 10 gig connections in our network now that provides diversity. So if one of those 10 gigs go down, all the traffic, or depending on the cost routing of it, will route through there. We don't like having a single point of failure. So that's going to be a new connection to our network.
Just wondering for redundancy.
Yeah, absolutely,
Different direction
absolutely.
instead of.
And we're in Allen County. Chuck's building a building in downtown Allen County, and I kind of have a dream to connect Steuben all the way through to Allen County and continue growing our network.
Okay, next step. Do we want a official proposal on this? Is that, would that be the next step?
That's the question I was hoping to hear. I would love to provide you an official proposal.
Can't hurt to have a proposal. I would suggest, as you're probably aware, I'm sure, there's been a broadband task force working on this for a couple of years. And there are a lot of players and a lot of movement now, with this new round of NLC4 and the ICP program picking up a lot of those addresses. So it wouldn't, I don't think it would hurt your position to at least have some conversation with that group, just so there's a lot of players in there, Laketel, Meadowlink, Comcast, and so forth. I don't, as long as we get the county covered, I don't really care how we do it. I think I just want reliable service around the county. And, I have interest in what your customer service model looks like, how all those things are going to be handled, downtime, performance, and so forth. And, I'm pretty comfortable. I know Chuck well enough to know he doesn't peddle any junk. So, I don't have concerns along those lines. But I certainly don't object to seeing a proposal. But I think you can maybe avoid a lot of duplication of effort or so forth if you at least check in with Zach Sand or check in with the Broadband Task Force. And, you know, I'd be happy to have some conversation. Like I said, customer service and so forth is a real interest for me.
That's
So-
my number one motivating factor, is given above and beyond customer service. I wouldn't stretch out this far if I didn't think my team could handle it.
That's always been my concern about letting the big boys come into play, the AT&Ts and Comcast and those groups there, because like you said, it's just a number. You know, so.
I like the idea that you're smaller, you're more local, than that you're proposing to come in here with an office.
Absolutely.
And something that's, you know, we can call and get a person instead of recording and say, we got a problem.
I think to give him a little direction on this proposal, are we willing to entertain the possibility of building some towers with some backhaul to rent out to whoever it may be, and to build them stout enough that not only they could have some equipment on there, Metalink could have some equipment, maybe a cell tower company would want to, you know, come in, or not a cell phone company. Are we willing to, I'm not saying right now, hey, yeah, we're going to take $2 million built, but are we willing to have that talk? And I think that's the next step. Why have them make a proposal if we're going to say, yeah, well, we don't want to be in the tower business?
Well,
I know for a fact,
I think
living out
it's
in
worth
the-
having the conversation. I'm not real keen on owning those assets as a county, but I'm open to the conversation.
Well, there's another possibility. We could build these assets and sell them. You know, they could be sold. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying we have basically $2 million set aside for broadband. And the goal was to cover all of DeKalb County with broadband.
Yeah.
If we could take $2 million, cover the whole county with broadband, we've made our goal. Now, you know, now it's not fiber to the premise, but it's the first step in getting fiber to the premises, because you have the backhaul from the tower that can branch out from there.
So what, I mean, and I'm not holding you to this because we don't have a proposal, but just,
Right.
just off the top of your head, you know, what would be Lakeland's investment from a,
So I've got a budgetary slide on there. If I use the existing towers and earmark at least one tower build, I think I can do the county for $2 million. That's with almost $7 million investment from Lakeland. Got to talk to Chuck about this one. I'd throw in another $1 million. So in all transparency, if I can come in and say, Lakeland throws in $8 million, if the county can throw in $1 million, $1.5 million, I can do the county. That's kind of, just sitting here spitballing in my head, I apologize. That's kind of what I would love to see. But I also I would like there to be an iterative process to that proposal. It worked really well for me in Hamilton and Brent. I give you guys something, you tell me no, we go back, we strike it again.
Yeah.
I would love to cooperate and coordinate with you guys so that we're doing the right thing across the board.
well, you know, that's going to, collaboration and
Yes.
and conversation is always
I want to be a good neighbor.
the main thing here, and that would be one issue that we'd have to talk about is service territories and so forth, because AES is well established and is actually still expanding and looking at doing some things and.
And my plan, at least I've got in there, I did nothing within AES territory because truthfully, if I'm spending money in territory that there's fiber, my take rate is going to be much smaller, other than if there's a customer service opportunity where we can come in and kill it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the take rates out in the rural areas are going to be phenomenal. There's no doubt.
Typically, they're very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Especially where I start putting Toronto, it catches on really quick.
Yeah, yeah. If that performs the way it's supposed to, you ought to be up in the 60-70% take rates at least.
He mentioned also that their minimum speed they can provide is 50 megabit down, which that's all I have at home. And I stream 2-3 TVs at a time. I can do Zoom meetings, whatever I need to do. So e-learning, being able to stream, downloads for your tractors, you know, and they need to upgrade. That was what you estimated, probably $59 a month roughly.
Yeah.
For a 50 megabit,
Yeah.
which isn't a phenomenal rate for 50 megabit, don't get me wrong, but it's much better than the ISD or the
Yeah.
ADSL or whatever you might have out there currently at 1 megabit, you know.
Beats not having any service at all.
And then you can easily go to 100 megabit, they flip a switch and they kick them up to, or even 400,
Yeah.
even more if the proximity.
Over the weekend, I looked at all of our 300 customers on Tirana, and the 24-hour peak on average was 58 meg.
58.
And that's across 300 customers and 8 towers. They're doing some serious traffic, which I didn't expect to see. So,
Okay.
Okay.
So,
and to that price point, we do not do contracts. We do not raise rates. There's no additional fees. If in the last 6 years I've run Lakeland, I've done one thing that changed prices, and that was lower it, just because I understood that in the rural areas, wireless carriers are kind of predatory sometimes. Like, I know you can only get me. You're going to pay $100 a month. I don't like that. I don't.
Okay, I would, I suppose we'd do a motion to have him bring us a proposal, official proposal. I'd entertain that motion.
I'll move. So moved.
Yeah, I'll second.
A motion second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. Motion carries.
You can
Thank you,
never have
Mark.
too much
Yeah,
information.
We
absolutely.
have too much.
Don't be afraid to reach out if there's any questions about anything else.
Will do.
I want to
Will
help
do.
above and beyond all.
Okay.
Is your contact information in? Do
Appreciate the information.
I would also like to add,
you have a card, Mark? Do you have a card?
I'd like to add the Republicans with other ideas, and Kellen Dooley and Andrew Provines have been instrumental in bringing this mark into us and giving us its information. So I want to give them credit for that. It's something we need to be moving on sooner than yesterday. We're behind on this for some reason, despite all the talk and the good intentions. So let's get it moving.
On board. Thanks again, Mark.
Break time.
Add one. Oh, you shoot his number to you? I got it in my phone. Okay, if you
Yeah,
can't
that's
find
fine.
a
You
card.
text it to me.
No, I've got something in the car.
No problem.
I'll text it, his number to him if it's okay with you. Number. At least you didn't bring 4 of them, 160 pounds. And with 4 of those on a tower, I mean, especially the wind footprint of that, I mean, that your estimations to build those towers, even if we put, let's say, 8 or 12 of them on a tower, that tower can be built for that kind of money, handling that kind of wind load? Okay.
It does have wind loading, but it's not like your
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and away we go. Mr. Parker,
Thanks, Ron.
what you got today? A lot of goodies, it looks like.
Yeah, I got a few things, just a couple to bring up and show you.
Okay,
And I got some business here. The first thing I've got for business today is the Highlands Edition off of County Road 35 there, 35 and 56. That was under maintenance bond with Brooks Construction, and that bond has come due. I've got a copy of the bond here. I did send that up to Susan, in case you guys wanted that in your file to look at. And I also done a letter to release it. There was some damage out there. I went over with Brooks, and they did go through and do mill and repair out through there. So that is done,
Work done.
and the road hopefully will be fine. That damage was due, in a way, it was kind of nice it worked out that way. There's several properties that was not built on yet, and then that place really in the last 3 years took a big hit as far as people building out there. So a lot of the construction traffic was ran over that 3-year period. So I think there's only a couple of lots left out there, and I'm not sure if the neighbors bought those and own them or not. But so if you guys are okay with the releasing the bond, I'm okay with it. I did create a letter. It's just for all three to sign. And I can get this back to Brooks so they can get their bond released.
Make a motion that we sign the bond release for Highlands Edition.
Second that.
a motion and a second. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye?
Aye, opposed, the same. Motion carries. All three sign.
Okay, so I already gave Bill mine, so if you guys want to just sign both of them, then I'll have my copy.
Oh, okay.
Please
There's
and
one
thank
right
you.
here, so just go this way and. So is this copy for Ben then? No.
That one's
I'll
Susan's.
just put this stuff behind it.
Okay. You want the other stuff, right?
Yep.
That stuff there,
Thank
right?
you.
Okay. I'll get that sent back to Brooks and they can get their bond released and it'll
Great.
be good. Next thing I've got is I got a phone call last week from a James, I'm trying to say his name right, Rodinger? He lives at 3897 US Highway 6. He is directly across the street from the highway department, the new highway department location, the guy up on the hill.
Oh, yeah.
The same guy called a while back about the sanitary sewer. Well, now he's calling about the water. Yeah. He called, he seen the water line starting to go in, he called Town of Waterloo, and Town of Waterloo says that's not their line, they need to contact County Highway. So I did call the guy back, had a discussion with him. I told him at this point, I don't even really, I said, I'm gonna bring it up to you guys, but I'm not really interested in or entertaining anything at this point until we're done with our project, settled and moving forward. And then the next thing is we'd have to talk to Andrew and then the commissioners, because we're gonna have that water main for 3 years,
Right.
Three?
I believe so.
I thought it was 2. Is it 3?
It's 2 or 3.
I think it's 2, but here nor there.
Right.
And
So
We're
that,
responsible for it for 2 years.
Yeah.
that would be ours. Like I said, my understanding is most of the time when someone taps into a private line, they pay so much back for the installment tap fee. And I said, anything from that tap, the tap would be your responsibility, boring underneath 6, hooking all that up would be your responsibility. The next thing is if he puts that in, he'd want to make sure it was put in the city spec and that the city would take that over, because most of the time when it's a municipality puts a water line in, anything that's in a road right of way, they will maintain. So then the shut off would be on his side of the roadway in his property. Waterloo would then locate underneath 6, because then see, we'd be back into the locating right of way. So I said that would be a private utility under US 6 until the city took it over. So I said, I just think that at this point, there's gonna be too many hiccups to enter, unless you're just plumb out of water. I think it would be better off for you to wait until the city took it over and then tapped onto it, because otherwise we'd have to go through the permitting. There'd have to be an agreement drawn up between the county, and I'm sure Mr. Cruz would have to do. But I said I'd bring it up. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. I'm not trying to discourage or say it's not a good idea. I mean, it's just, them things I want you to be aware of that's probably gonna come up.
I have to agree, unless he's out of water, if his well's gone dry, that might be a different situation. You
Right.
might want to front that money to do that. But I don't know, if, like you say, if we need to have the headaches of going through all that, and it'd be better if he just waited.
Well, and I just don't think we want to enter an agreement with someone where, let's say he has an issue with water in the future, and now we got to worry about him too, as well as us, you know, I think it's better that the city take over that responsibility when the time comes.
And he's at the end of the line, and we may have some issues also.
That's
We
what I'm
found it out
saying.
at Community Corrections, you're at the end of the line, you can have problems,
Yeah,
especially a new line that's come
Yeah.
in there, and
all the
Yeah, they
crap
may-
ends up there.
They
the
should,
backflow valve has just been a nightmare, was a nightmare out at Community Corrections because of being at the end of the line.
not saying they will, but hopefully the city will flush that hydrant annually
Yeah.
Yeah,
there.
get the sediment out.
But, yeah, even at that, though, there could still be
Right.
situations. Yeah, see, get back to him, and, you know, if he can wait, it'd be better if he just waited.
That was my recommendation to him. I told him I was gonna bring it up, but I felt the consensus would be what I told him. So I told him if he didn't hear from me, that
That's the
it's probably the way it's
verification.
gonna be.
Yeah,
But I told him to feel free to reach out to me anytime and ask. And if something changes or when this Waterloo takes it over, ideally that would be the best time, and then they can just deal with the tap and deal with
right.
going on East Six and the permitting and all that. I think it would be the best for everyone.
Well, they're gonna bill him for the water, obviously, we aren't, right? I mean, we have
Right.
a way of billing him, he'd have to
Yeah, because
have
our
a-
meter's gonna be at the building, not at the beginning of that main.
Right, right.
So yeah, he'd be paying the water, he'd be paying the water bill of it. You know, the water line's significant, it's, you know, big enough line to handle all that. So I mean, it's not gonna hurt our supply by no means. So,
Oh, no, we won't have any problem.
yeah, so,
It's designed to go on out, actually, at some point.
right. Okay, well, in case you guys get asked, you're aware of it. And you know, so. Last thing I got was, last year we was invited and I was requested for our presence again to the career vehicle days at Butler and Riverdale Elementary. It's Tuesday, September 19th at Butler, then Thursday, September 21st in Riverdale. So I would like to participate in that again if you guys didn't have any objections. Last year it was a big hit. I mean, they really appreciative of us coming. That's why I brought up today. I just thought it was kind of cute, kind of neat. Couple of things that the kids made for us.
Yeah.
Appreciation of it. There's some pretty cute little comments in there if you guys want to take the time to read it. But this is from both schools.
Wow.
You know, here's the back. These are things I like to do, you know,
Yeah,
for the county, for the highway department. That's good PR,
it's great PR.
guys.
Yeah.
I try to attend all them. I'm a little bit disappointed. There was one at the Y again this year.
Yeah.
I found out that I wasn't invited to, otherwise we would have been there. So it wasn't me why we wasn't there, but I always do my best to participate in everybody's
Make sure
events.
that doesn't happen again.
And I think it's good that we get out there. It's good the kids come up and see it, and then the parents, we can do a lot of education at these things as well.
Yeah.
You know, this one here is more kids,
Yeah.
but it's a good time. I'm hoping that we're building our future highway employees.
I say maybe in 12
agree.
years, one of them kids will
I
be a
was gonna say,
driver.
maybe one of those
Yeah.
kids' dads wants to come drive trucks for us.
there you are.
And you know, I had that,
Or mom.
Maybe send a job application home with each kid.
right? I do take them to the toucher trucks when I go, because I have had parents ask, and I have handed out applications before. Yes, I have.
Okay.
So, but I just wanted to bring that up, make sure you guys didn't have no objections for us to participate in
We
that.
need all the PR we can get. Or the positive PR we can get.
Right?
Absolutely. Go for it.
All righty, I appreciate that, guys, so, other than that, but things are moving along. Bridge 57 on County Road 40 is complete, traffic's back open, been open. I got the final walkthrough today at, I think it's 1 o'clock, to go through with the contractor, and then any punch list items that need done, then we'll pay the retainage of that. Bridge 9 is totally done, Zachary's got the marker, the survey marker put in the corner of the bridge, so that's complete. And as of Friday, I have not talked to Brooks today, but our CCMG paving, they was stoning the roads Thursday and Friday, the shoulders, so
Right.
that should be done. There's one spot on 35 I'm a little concerned about the way it was paved. I want to reach out to Stephen on that. And then, hopefully we'll get that striped here soon and that will be complete.
Road turned out nice from what I can tell, though, overall. It seemed pretty good to me.
We should be good. That should hopefully get us a long time out of that. There was definitely when we milled that off, they milled that off a little soon.
Yeah.
You know, it's a double-sided sword on them roads sometimes. I mean, you can mill them off, they can go quite a while, or you run an episode like we did, that was raveling underneath there. And
Bad.
If that little bit of rain, it potholed pretty bad. I've seen that in the past, just not on any of my roads, but this one was mine. So we had to go through and put a scratch coat in there to fill all them voids before we could put the surface on. So we'll see where my tonnage runs up at. We may be over a smidge, we may be right on. But that's the nature of the beast that we do when we do road projects. I mean, you can't see for sure what's under there. You don't know the conditions until you're in it. You know, we did go through and did a lot of spot repairs prior to paving that improved that a lot, and hopefully this will get us several years yet. But in the meantime, it looks good and rides good and see.
Great.
I just got 8 pipes ordered for this fall yet, different locations around the county. 4 of them are ready. Hoping to start those probably next week or the following. And that will keep us busy for a little while. And then I'm trying to work on getting some stuff arranged. I talked to Tim Knott last week. We've got them 2 semi-trailers at the shop. But the axles and the whole running gear has been cut off from underneath of them. We're gonna load those up on Tim's flatbed and haul them out to the new location.
Oh,
That's got all of our pipe fittings and things in
Right.
there.
oh, okay.
And then, we're gonna take our power commander out there. That's gotta have a semi-tractor to pull it. Tim's gonna take that out there for us. We'll put that in the back. I wanna start moving some of the things we can that if we need, it's a little inconvenience, but we can go over there and pick it up. I just don't wanna be in the spring moving and having to move all this big stuff and everything all together. I'm just trying to,
I don't know why you want to miss all that fun.
yeah, I know, all right. So, just got a lot of things I'm trying to get started on and then moving and keep us progressing the right way.
By the way, the new forklift's really nice, too. I went out and saw the new forklift. That's a, I started it, and I didn't
Yeah.
drive it. I didn't want to drive it through the wall, but it shifts left and right. The forks individually moved left and right. They tilt up and down. It's a nice one. That ought to give us many decades of use.
Right, yes, decades,
Yeah.
literally. We're not talking years.
Well, because it stays inside, too.
Well,
Those run forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and ours, we're not like a factory. It's not running 8, 10, 12 hours a day, all day long.
Is that pneumatic tire? Okay,
Propane,
yeah, okay.
so.
No, it's solid wheel tires. Are they pneumatic tires?
I think they are.
Oh, I thought they were solid.
No, they're,
Yeah,
they got traction on them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
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 If you're gonna
did
take it
that.
outdoors at all, yeah.
We did that because we want to be able to take
Yeah,
it
that
outside.
makes sense. It's a slick unit.
Yeah, good.
No, it's there. It was delivered a week and a half ago. So I had just drove it in the shop, just back and forth. But man, that thing will turn. Them rear wheels will almost turn completely 90-degree angle. I mean, it'll just,
So much better than trying to use a skid steer, because skid steer, you get it hopping and you got something on there and.
I do have Tim from Gov Deals coming up to visit me in the next couple weeks. And I'd like to put that New Holland loader on there, that old skid steer loader,
Oh,
if you guys don't have any objections to it.
I think it's
It
time to
runs,
get rid of it.
it's decent, but it's kind of a liability.
yeah.
Them hydraulics are so old and so jerky, that's why I really pushed to get the forklift, was to
Yeah. Yeah, let's get rid of it.
Somebody get hurt.
Yeah,
And
let's
that
get
Gov
rid of
Deals is a great place. He broke the bank off them trucks that he sold there.
Yeah.
I think I'll bring a couple grand, even though it's pretty much end of life. Someone's gonna want that for minimal work. It might bring 3 or 4 grand. I mean, price of a new Bobcat, holy smokes, they start
Yeah.
at 45, 50,000.
Yeah, now this is
now
a
to go
smaller
up there.
unit, but even the smaller Bobcats are pretty pricey.
Well, they're still 40 grand, the little ones.
I mean, this little unit, it's fine. We've gotten it, my understanding was, we got it from the county farm for $1 back when.
Oh, really? Really?
So I guess if you wanted to go back out there, it could go back out there for $1.
That's all right.
But
Let's get rid of it.
I think it's well-deserved somewhere else, just for being in the business and thing. I just think people aren't careful. It's, you ought to just run it once. You'd see exactly what I'm talking about.
Is it jerkier than a normal skid steer?
Oh, man, yeah.
So it doesn't have that smoothness my
No,
Bobcat
not
has.
at all.
I run one once that was like that. You couldn't hardly, I mean, I wasn't really used to it to begin with. And you couldn't help but, because it's just a little, so touchy. And it's just a reaction of your arm weight against that lever.
What you do then is you just let go.
It's like
If you don't let go, it gets worse. It
gets worse. Oh,
First time
yeah.
I drove one, I about ejected myself out of it, and then I was like, guy's like, just let go. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I got that old box sander I'd like to sell yet. And then we've got some of them old plows. I don't know. We'd be better off just to scrap some of those. A lot of them hitches are old and wore, and, you know, as we've been buying the newer trucks, I've been buying some new blades. I mean, I'm gonna keep some of them ones for a spare, in case we break one or something happens, but some of them older V blades are too narrow for the new trucks. Been down there for eons. I think I found the tag on one of them was like in 1960.
Well, the thing is, if it'd be hard to sell an old plow to someone just because it's not gonna fit their truck. It's half of it's the installation, the expense, and they're not gonna wanna stick a 40-year-old plow on a new truck.
it might be money ahead just to take it to the Omnisource or someplace,
That's what
rather
I
than
do.
moving it and then move it again.
Yeah, why junk up the
Probably
new?
not a bad
property?
idea.
Yeah.
I think we ought to authorize Ben to scrap whatever he thinks scrap and GovSource, that Gov site on those.
So I gotta get the old broom on there yet. I didn't get that done. I wanna put the broom and
Yeah.
the skidder on there.
Might as well get that money.
And that box sander we got, we don't use it. We could try it on there. 'Cause it don't cost us nothing to sell on there. It's all,
nice.
No sense moving anything that you're not using.
Be nice to do it before the weather turns crappy too.
Wife says if we haven't used it in a year, it goes.
That's what we did when we moved. I said, put everything in the garage, not gonna use. If it's there in a year, throw it in the dumpster. I said, because you'll never use it again.
we've got all them stackable blocks, them concrete blocks around the whole facility.
Yeah.
I'm trying to start getting a plan to get those hauled out. You know, we're gonna use it, them areas a little bit, but we're basically just gonna be storing sand
Sure.
through the winter. If it runs over a little bit, it just,
Yeah.
we just got a lot to do, guys. I just wanna,
No hill
I
for
did, by the
climber.
way, talk to Marilyn, and they're gonna do an extension on the possession through April 30th, and then an option for month to month after that, just in case something comes up and we need the extra time.
That should work.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, but April 30th ought to,
Hopefully, yeah,
I would think so.
you just never know.
like I say, if we get fortunate and have a mild winter, we'll work a lot on stuff this winter. You know, I gotta get a hold of Brett, unless you wanna get a hold of Brett. There's still a motorcycle in that lean-to.
That's yours.
Oh, it's yours, yeah.
He said you could have it.
That's one of his employees, I guess, but steering wheel is locked on it, but I wanna start working in there, but I don't want no
What kind of bike is it, you know?
Just,
street bike.
if he doesn't come get it, just push it out on the other side.
We can drag it, it's the steering wheel is locked on it, so
Yeah,
Go around in circles.
just walk it out. to
I'll send him a
the-
text right now.
I wanna get started out there. We need to gut them walls. The upstairs part is, I may drop that ceiling and redo that. That is, the coons has been up there so bad. Manure and
Yeah,
urine and just, I'm afraid of, if we invest in the walls and everything else, it's gonna stink so bad in there. If I don't get that cleaned up. And then we need to take that wall on up on that south side.
Yeah, yeah. You got to keep
So I
them
know
out of
we-
there.
We talked about that, getting started on that, so I wanna, when we was out there, I was out there last week, and Brett had, a trailer and some small engines, and all that stuff's gone, but that motorcycle's still sitting there.
Send him a text, ask him to, whoever owns it, to get it.
I
Yep, I'm
don't-
sure he'll take care of it.
Fuel tanks was moved out of there that he had, so, other than the motorcycle, he should be all out of there.
A few tanks are gone. How about the propane tank,
Propane tank, still there, but that's owned by propane people.
people? Okay.
Call him, tell him to pick it up then, right?
We can,
Is there some thought of using that? No, we was gonna come across
we was gonna come across, everything's gonna be natural.
We were
natural.
gonna go natural gas.
Because without natural gas right to the backside of the Henderson building.
Yeah,
The only thing that we have that we're gonna have to consider, there was no cost in the regular bot to figure to run natural gas to that back lean-to. So we're either gonna have to pay to run natural gas back there when we buy a heater back there, or we keep the propane tank there. It'd
No, you don't
Be
wanna do
better to
that.
have the natural, but there's gonna be a cost.
just, like, we need to just get natural gas.
Yeah.
That ain't that hard. You just drop a line, a half-inch gas line out there from Maine. It shouldn't be a problem.
Have to get under that slab.
Huh?
Have to get under that slab.
Not from the road.
Not from the road.
Oh, not, yeah,
Yeah.
no, right,
They'd
right.
have to run another service.
That's what I mean for the service.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a problem.
They'd have to put another meter there. Unless we tied it into the rest of the property, then.
Could we somehow tie it into the building, the gas line where it runs to the end of the building and then tap off of there?
It'll have to come out and around the front, because that's all concrete.
That'd be all right, though. That'd be maybe a way.
That
to
wouldn't
do it.
be farther than going to the road.
It would be further.
Be further, but you wouldn't have to go tap into the main on the road and get a
There
separate
would
meter.
be,
Yeah,
Separate meters, more money and,
yeah, we need to stay with 1 meter.
yeah,
another connection fee.
yeah. I think it could be done. We need to get that done, though. There's no reason to have propane and natural gas.
Well, that should have been up to Brett to cancel that, because that was his contract, his service with them.
Right,
I'll tell them.
right. Anything else?
Punch list, Todd.
I'm
I
punching.
don't think I've got anything, guys.
I had a question is, have you considered what roads you might convert next year as far as gravel to hard surface? Any thoughts on that yet? Is that,
A lot of that's going
Much
to
at one
depend on
time.
our move and our funding, and I've got some big pipes next year I gotta get done. It's gonna take some time. And we gotta put together.
yeah,
And we got, one we did on 43, we had just over a week putting that together. So I've got some of those.
and it may be something that doesn't happen next year.
Possible.
Well, I
If the
think
money's
you
not
could-
there.
You could look at some particular areas in the county that would be near our road use agreement area that maybe we can move into that agreement and let funding happen somewhere else.
There's several that we need to figure out in the road use agreement what we're gonna do, because there's a lot of gravels that are gonna run over there.
Well, exactly, that's, yeah, that needs some more in-depth discussion.
Because you guys have gotten a copy of all that, I believe, as well.
Yeah, we're just short the exhibits,
Yeah.
yeah.
I need to, for the application Chris Gallmer sent out, I need to try to get out yet and check them access points. That's really the only thing on that one that's gonna pertain to me that I can tell, for the one that's first sent out.
Well, I want to maximize whatever work we can get done out of that agreement, particularly post-construction, as far as improving what's already there in the area, even if it's not used as part of the process, if it's just in the area and would merit, whether it's an upgrade to chip and seal or an upgrade to hard surface or convert or or whatever, so. If you understand where I'm coming from.
Anything for Ben? Anyone? Okay,
Okay.
I believe we're done.
I have one thing that I would like to do.
Sure.
I would like to make a motion that we reinstate the Martin Luther King holiday and revisit our discussion on the holiday schedule.
Have a motion on the floor. Is there a second to that motion?
Second for some discussion. I didn't realize that was coming, but one thing I saw on TV, one company just took away, which company it was on the news. They took away Christmas Eve to do Juneteenth. So they took one away and added Juneteenth, which I guess you can celebrate that and not celebrate the birth of Christ, but anyway.
That's an odd choice.
I thought that was interesting.
Am I
And it was
right?
overwhelmingly accepted by the people that worked there.
Am I right? I think Good Friday is not a national holiday.
Fair Day is not either.
Well,
It's Fair
exactly.
Day.
My initial thought here is, why would we want to have county people working on a federal holiday when the Fed's closed, the banks are closed, and all of that? We do have some other holidays, and if you're hell-bent on taking a holiday away,
Well-
there are others that might make more sense.
It's not just taking holiday away. I don't like to use that term, and the reason being is, I was telling people about what we did, because there's been talk in the circles, we're all people for doing this. And I was talking to someone that's in the medical field, and they get paid 6 paid holidays. And she goes, 13? She goes, where do I sign up? And I said, well, you can work for the county if you want. But if you want to flip them around, that's fine. Get rid of Fair Day. Get rid of, some other words. Because I heard that, I saw that email that, hey, my people are going to work they don't have anything to do that day anyway. Okay, let's flip them around. I'll have that discussion. But I just think that 13 was over the top.
I do too.
I'm
I'm not willing to give back without taking.
Yeah, if we need to flip them around, I'm open to that discussion.
Yeah, that's,
Especially if it helps the work. If they're not working that day anyway, great. Let's
I
do
think
one.
that might have been overstated, though, that there was nothing they could do.
There's always something to do.
There's always something. But given that, you want to flip it around?
So what, do we have the schedule
So
in
is
front
that
of us?
Parkview person going to come here?
I'm sorry?
Is that Parkview person you talked to going to come work for us?
They highly considered the nurse's position at the elevated salary. It's more than they're making at Parkview. So, once they found that out, they said, you got to be kidding me. And I said, so, and now we're talking $80,000 salaries instead of 60. You might see a lot of people wanting to come to and again.
Okay, but that's for the nurses. Like, that's because that's a specialized area.
Oh, I'm
But
just
other
yeah.
areas isn't completely like that.
I'm just saying, there's someone making big money that gets paid 6 holidays and can't believe they've never heard of that. And I never heard of it till I came here. I never heard of 13 holidays.
But we're
I thought
also
you guys
not
were kidding.
private sector. We're
I don't care.
government entities.
I don't care.
We're,
That's even worse. We're taking people's money forcefully from them. And we are saying, okay, you only get 6 paid holidays, but we're going to take your money and we're going to pay our employees 13. That comes across badly to people in the private sector. If you run a business, which you do, go ahead and try to pay 13 paid holidays and see how long your business lasts in the private sector. It doesn't work. No one does it.
No.
No one does.
But
So-
the pay is also different too, and their insurance is better. There's a
No,
lot
that's
of
not
other
true.
things.
That's not true.
In a bigger setting, a lot of the
I know
insurances are
someone that works for
better.
Charlton Metal Products for their family
Okay.
that pays $700 a month for their insurance. $700.
yeah, and there's always
And they're a good
exceptions.
company.
Any statement you make, you can always.
Yeah.
Yeah,
find
there's always.
exceptions.
I think I get your point, But what I'm saying is I keep hearing we don't pay enough. Great. Let's get pay up to what it should be. Let's also go to 40-hour work week. Let's also go to 6 paid holidays. And let's raise everyone's rates 30%. I'm all for that. Now we can say we're just like the private sector. But that isn't going to fly, is it? I mean, let's be honest.
No.
So let's be reasonable and say, wait a minute, what's a good compromise here? And I think 12 paid holidays is still a phenomenal thing. And if there's truly no work to be done on that day, let's flip one out that there is work to be done. I think Mike's proposal is not a bad proposal.
Fair Day makes all the sense to me in the world. I mean, why are we giving a holiday for Fair Day?
Exactly.
It's not for Fair Day.
Well-
It's Columbus Day, but
Aye.
they chose to do it for Fair Day.
Which Columbus Day we're not allowed to celebrate anymore because we're racist for celebrating Columbus Day. So we need to,
Was Columbus Day a federal holiday?
I'm not sure that it is. I don't think it
I don't
is.
think so.
Right. So it's not a federal holiday
I just
start
wanted to
with.
make it clear for those listening that
me look it up.
it wasn't Fair Day that we were getting off.
Right, but we did it for
Yeah.
Columbus Day. It was a flip.
Just
Yeah.
being
No, you are correct
Just
there.
being
Yeah.
transparent.
No, I agree with you. Again, we're not taking away anything. We're just being reasonable here.
The perception is that the employees are losing a holiday, and quite frankly.
No,
I
they're
got-
not.
I got-
They're not losing a holiday
It's not a holiday.
because they never gained. Is going to gain a holiday. We just didn't allow them to gain that one holiday. We did not take a holiday away. We're not taking one away.
Yeah, you did.
Just that 14th, June 14th.
No, June 14th was proposed, not, we've never had it.
Okay.
So you agreed
You're
to
right,
not
you're
have it, and then
So
you
they-
took
they have one
MLK
less-
Day away
you're right.
They have
also.
one less paid holiday than.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have more. We also don't get our election days off anymore either. And those were 2 a year.
I got more email from people who don't work for the county saying, what the F are you guys thinking, than I did from county employees.
Well, I don't know why they would say that. As a taxpayer, I would be like, what are you thinking?
I've got 0 comments opposing us taking that holiday.
I've got
zero.
I've only got it
So
from
I
a
don't
few
know why-
people that work here.
How your phone rings, but I've got 0. And that's what I'm going by.
Yeah, well, that's.
It says Columbus Day remains
You guys
a-
have to follow your own conscience. I
That's right.
will agree to disagree.
I'm,
Oh, yeah, and I think we can have
conscience is fine.
disagreement. That's, I
So the
think,
list of federal holidays, according to commerce.gov, is New Year's Day, MLK, Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence, Labor Day, Columbus, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas Day.
and how many is that total then? 8?
1, 2, 3, 11.
11. So
Thursday of Thanksgiving.
So we give 12, so we give one more than the noted federal holidays.
We give the day after Thanksgiving, which is not a holiday,
Right.
by the way.
That's what I'm saying. We already give more than what the federal holidays are, so to say that we're unfair, I think is ridiculous. I get the point that maybe MLK was the wrong day to do. I will admit that.
Along with saying no to Juneteenth at the same time.
Yeah, I don't see it as, why are we adding federal holidays that aren't even defined, in my opinion? You know, Juneteenth, everyone jumps onto that. Well, why? I want to be a part of that group too. Well, yeah, it's efficient, or, I mean, it makes sense. But I think Mike makes a valid point that MLK might have been the wrong day to do, but if we're giving 12 and there's 11 federal holidays, we're doing more than what the federal government does. I think we're very fair there.
I do too.
So do we want to reinstate MLK and drop Fair Day? Fair Day?
I'd
Or
be
do you
in
want
favor
to have a
of
discussion of it next week? Think
I'd
about
be
it.
in favor of that. Yeah.
I'm happy to think about it.
Yeah, let's think about it and have.
Okay,
Think about it, and let's not make a rash decision and then decide.
okay.
Talk about it.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay,
Do it next week.
all right.
Whatever
Okay,
we're going to do,
so-
we'll do next week.
Hold this thought. So you had a motion and a second for
I'm
discussion.
going to withdraw my motion
Okay.
That was a good discussion. I think
and
that
move
was,
that we table the issue until, for discussion next Monday.
September 18th.
Okay, so Andrew, this is probably for you. Do I need them to vote on the first one and then vote on the second one?
I don't think you need to have a vote. He
Okay.
withdrew his motion.
Okay.
And they're just moving to
We do
table
it,
the
we do it
issue
all next week.
for discussion.
That's fine. I
Oh,
just want to
yeah.
make sure we didn't need
I
a,
think that's okay.
Yeah.
So I moved to table, so you need a second there.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, a motion and second to table
table.
the holiday discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same. Motion carries.
Okay.
Anything else, anyone?
Yes, the Sculpin had requested to be heard on September 18th. It's entirely up to you when you want to schedule that or what you want to do with it. But I probably need to respond back to them and
Is there complete plans in place already, or are we still?
Still going over those three phases.
Yeah, until those agreements are done, the plans aren't complete. I don't think we're ready to,
I don't think we're ready to talk until the
no,
plans
I
are
think we
complete, are
need
we?
to come to an agreement on the agreements here between us before we have a meeting and negotiate with them on any of that stuff.
That makes sense to me.
yeah, because I think their request was to have, since they have filed with the Plan Commission the request for the overlay, I believe. They just filed that here maybe in the last week or so. And they said that they can't complete their full application until those three agreements are completed. And so they're requesting, I guess, the time to discuss that with the commissioners. So what you're talking about maybe is, are you thinking of an executive session or just an open meeting where you guys discuss it? If it's an open meeting, then
Well, if it
everybody can be there from,
If it qualifies for an executive session, I think that would be the most appropriate way to do it, because you start throwing a bunch of numbers out and information out that isn't locked in yet, that we haven't agreed on and worked out between us, so that we know we're happy with the agreement.
I think that's one of the exceptions is commercial agree, I mean, I'd have to look at the exceptions in the executive session statute again, but I mean, I think negotiating over certain contracts is allowed depending on that.
Yeah, I'd have no
There's
issue.
a lot of stuff in those agreements, and I want to make sure that we all understand everything that's in there, and we're getting our best deal we can.
We could even bring in Richard Hall, who's the attorney for the county on that.
Rick would know more about what's in there than.
Yeah, I mean, I've been,
anybody else.
Yeah.
you know, so it might be something where we could get him involved in like a Zoom meeting or something, or come up. I think, didn't he and Hannah may have come up live one time too.
Yeah, they did.
No, I'd have no problem with an executive session as long as we're not discussing changing ordinances, you know, that kind of stuff. I mean, if it's just talking numbers and stuff like that, that's probably actually the best way to do it, because, I mean, let's face it, the pro solar and the stop solar people be here and it'll just be a fight. And we're just trying to talk numbers that are going to be used within the scope of the overlay, so.
You're not talking approval of the
No,
project or not.
no.
You're talking about
Talking numbers.
Yeah.
And I think that's a appropriate use of an executive
Numbers and
session.
language.
And language, yeah.
And I think there's some paragraphs we need to go through,
Well,
paragraph by paragraph.
Exactly,
Yeah.
I agree.
And that's going to be hard to do in an open meeting, because people are going to say, oh, I want to talk about that.
Well, that's the problem. People hear what they want to hear, and then all of a
Right.
sudden there's stuff
Right.
out there that isn't factual, because there hasn't been any finalization of the
Right.
agreement, so.
So I have no problem with the
Okay,
executive
so I'll
session.
work on getting Rick Hall and
Okay,
Susan set up on a
yeah,
executive
we
session.
can get a
Okay.
date.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Anything else?
You always got something.
Are we done? You done, Andrew?
I'm done.
All right, I'm done. You done? Mike, Todd? We are adjourned.
Almost bacon sandwich time. You go to the Y, don't you, Mike?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Oh, I love the wine.
Do you? We're finally joining, Angie's been a member, but I'm gonna join and. There's a lot of people just walk on the track. They walk around the track.
That's what we do. We do about 3 miles a day.